but they were of a different sort than what she had nurtured before he started to fear the open avenues and the broad sky and sea. "Darling, my darling," she whispered through the boards. "Are you well tonight? Are you safe?" A moment later, a voice came from within, guarded but supple, entirely without cracks. "I am. Yesterday, I received a book of stories from Valnese and a pamphlet about the glass-winged butterflies of Noor. It's amusing. They seem to think the butterflies are real." "Who knows, but they might be," Vitrine said cheerfully. "Have a good night." "You as well. Blessed Summersend to you." The neighborhood speculated ferociously on what treasures the young man kept behind his boarded windows and his thick walls. Some guessed a fortune in pearls. Others supposed ingots of gold gotten from his grandmother's estate. No one even suspected that he had kept more books in one place than any other on the continent, holiest and heresies and art and trash. 5 years ago, he had learned that he could not tolerate people, and so the stacks of books grew to keep him company. There were the slender towers of botany treatises, as short and delicate as children, the fat stacks of romances that seemed buxom despite their corners, the stalwart disquisitions of war that could be used to build a fortress themselves. Soon, she hoped, he might open at least a window to the outside. If he would not leave himself, perhaps his books would fly out and live in the hearts of those who needed them, just as she needed the book that lived in her own chest. Vitrine wanted that collection for the city, but the young man would not be young and healthy forever. She could wait for her library. In the meantime, Vitrine amused herself on Law Street, where tonight the fools and the beggars wrote the rules, while the august advocates borrowed their motley and rags to run drunk down the lane. Vitrine whiled away some time, encouraging the wise fools and the foolish solicitors, and then she followed a pack of masked women on their way to one of the manors in the western district, their smiles as plush and red as foxtails. It was Marius Cantavi commanding their presence, and Vitrine fell to the end of the line as the women circled his private chamber under his critical eye. The women were from one of the finest houses on Carnelian Street, black velvet roses pinned to their breasts, cheeks dusted with glittering mica, and they were like music given form as they waited for the wealthy man's decision. Marius walked among them, enjoying the selection more than he would what came later, and Vitrine cast her blacker-than-black eyes at him, a sting of desire making him pause. Vitrine stood as docile as stone as he reached for her mask, but when he removed it, he found not the face of a woman, but instead something beaked and snapping, the feathers crawling with lice and the eyes rimmed with rheum and fury. He shrieked with dismay, and Vitrine laughed as she left the women from Carnelian Street to sort out the rest. They might soothe their patron, or they might rob him blind, and it was all the same to the demon of Azril as she tripped back into the streets. She picked out the son of the Lord Mayor among a group of maskers and sent after him a footpad with a lump of iron in a stocking. She had been on the tightrope about him for a while, weighing his courage against his temper, and in the spirit of the festival, she decided to let him stand the test. If he survived the footpad, well and good. She would see what might be made of him. If not, there were plenty of other exciting prospects to be found. She rested for a while on a rooftop off of Marrowbone Square, the green slate cool against her bare back and one ankle propped jauntily on the opposite bent knee. A lithe gray cat came to investigate her business in his territory, and satisfied, he climbed up on her chest to purr his approval. Vitrine grunted as his heavy little feet sank into her breasts and her belly, but she scratched him behind the ears as his eyes drifted shut. "Well, well, little Lord Ratcatcher, I remember your many times great-grandmother, don't I? She would be so proud to see how far her family has come, and what a fine sir you look." Vitrine turned her head to the side as the cat butted his